What's cooking, everybody? We are back. Look, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy, coming on and talking with my guests. The show that we started almost 3 years ago, the Fryar Place. This is the Fryar Place. I am your host, Irving Fryar, and this is the place where the conversations are fire. I see a couple of you who have logged on already. You're on the Fryar Place YouTube channel, Vincent Capriati and Love My Destiny. Eddie Casper is in the house. You guys are just waiting for me to come on. You're just waiting for the show. That's awesome. And I appreciate your support. I appreciate your subscriptions. I appreciate you coming on every week and interacting with our great guests. This week's guest is not a surprise, but before I bring him on, as usual, we got to pay some bills. So we'll be right back right after this.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltz Fish Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
We are back. Yes, we are. I see some of you already know who our guest is today. He is a repeat customer. We're bringing him back on today because he was so profound last week. And you know what? I look back on the show. It was a great show. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? Yours truly, I talked way too much. I know it's my show. Yeah, it's my show. I can talk all I want to. But the shows that we have from week to week are not about me. They're about our guests. And the show is supposed to be focused on our guests. So I called him back or texted him back and said, would you come on again? Because I talked way too much and the people really did not get an opportunity. You didn't get an opportunity, all of you who are watching, to get his instruction on the different topics that he focuses on as an expert in those fields when he's going out and he's doing his thing as a leader, whether it's in the church, whether it's in his home, whether he's going to a conference and speaking in front of a bunch of other leaders. We didn't give him an opportunity, or I didn't give him an opportunity to endow us with some of that information. So I thought that we'd bring him back. And even if he doesn't get finished today with it and you all request it, I think we'll have him back next week. So this will be a 3-part series with our guest that was here with us last week, Mr. Teamwork, Dr. Cliff Freeman. Yeah, in the house.
Hey, what's happening? What's happening?
He's back.
What's going on, everybody?
And listen, we were talking. He got the kids off the Wi-Fi. So look at his picture. His picture looks better. He's clearer. See that? And his voice is stronger because he made the kids go to bed, y'all.
I did not make the kids go to bed. I did not make the kids go to bed at all. We have 6 teenagers in the house, so teenagers go where they go. They went
Well,
to
how
their rooms,
many
they do
how
what
many
they
of those
do.
teenagers are yours?
So we have 3, 2 boys
Uh-huh.
and a girl, and we got custody of 2 girls and a boy, 2 nieces and a nephew.
Oh, so
So
all 6 are yours.
yeah,
That's right. You did do some adopting.
it,
I think
it,
that's
it,
my sister did that. I think that's very admirable. I'm not so sure that, I mean, obviously at my age, I'm 62. I don't know if I could handle a child right now. I think I don't know, man. I
you,
mean, I have 4
it,
children of my own, and
it really
man, that was
depends,
tough.
man.
That was tough.
But see, it's different because now you know stuff now that you didn't know then. So it's different today than it was 40 years ago, right?
Right.
It's
But
it's
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 totally
it's like the
different.
game of football. The way we used to do things, yes, all of it wasn't right, or I would probably change some of it in terms of how I dealt with my children. They're all individuals. You deal with them all differently. You love them all the same. But
Yes.
some of the things that they do now, I just can't get with. I can't get with. I'm old school, man. I'm old school. Look, my camera went out again. I got to turn. It must be you.
It's not me.
It's
It
got to be
has
you.
nothing to do
My,
with me. This is your cameras learning how to work together.
no, no, no. It's not my camera learning how to work together. I'm going to I'm going to
It's the
change.
teamwork of your cameras. That's
I'm
what
going
it
to
is.
change cameras again. Let me see. Camera in this scene. I got camera A. Let's go to camera B and let's see if camera B is working. No, that's camera. That's the wrong camera. That's the wrong camera. Camera D. Oh, that's the wrong camera. Camera E. That's the wrong camera too.
Man,
Oh, that's the wrong camera. I got too many cameras. Oh, that's the wrong camera. Let me see. Wait a minute. Let me leave that on for a second. I'm gonna turn camera A off and turn it back on. So you got to deal with this kind of stuff.
that's right. It's
And
called a master reset. That's what that
no,
is.
no, I need. If there's a master reset, all of us will go out.
No, what you're doing to that camera is a master reset. You're
There it
resetting that
is.
camera.
It's
See?
back on now. It's a yep. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Master reset. I didn't want to turn it off and leave the at least have me frozen in front of everybody with
Nah,
next to
we don't
you
do that
as
to you.
opposed to a blank. But listen,
Right.
we we talked last week and we got into what you do and how you do it. We just scratched the surface talking about leadership, and I started running my mouth about different things because I got excited about what it is you do. No, I haven't seen you or heard you do your thing. Yes, I have heard you preach. I have heard you exhort in the church, but I haven't heard you do your thing with this. What you do on a daily basis besides pastoring, and you're a keynote speaker that people seek out all across the country, and you teach on teamwork and leadership and working together, and you have 4 keynote topics that you work from or work out of, expound on. And I want you to, if you can, let's start with the first one and let's get through a couple of them. And like I said, if that's all we get, then we'll just have you back on next week. My mama's here. Steve Costa is in the house. What's going on, Steve? Listen, for those of you, as Dr. Freeman expounds on these topics, we're going to talk about contagious teamwork that changes cultures. That's I want to hear what he's got to say about that. Then legendary leadership, and then if we get to it, navigating change with resilience, and then the winning mindset. These are the 4 areas that he focuses on when he's doing his presentation. So if you're watching and you have a question for Dr. Cliff, or Dr. Freeman, I should say, please throw a capital Q in the comments and a semicolon after that. That's the 2 dots, y'all. And then ask your question. And that will draw my eye to your question. I'll see it and I'll look at it and I'll read it. And if it's appropriate, we'll ask Dr. Freeman and he can expound on it. So let's start out with the contagious teamwork, man. Teamwork that changes cultures. Give us what you got with that.
So, first, thank you again.
Oh,
Thank you for
you my
allowing me to
dude,
come
man.
on.
No,
I,
you my. I'm forever. I mean, I know we're not supposed to owe anybody anything but love, but I love you, bro, because you love me first.
Likewise. Absolutely.
All right.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
You-
And we went into that last
uh-huh.
week,
Right.
the how we met and all of that.
Right. Right.
But I appreciate you, man. Just allow me to come on and share this framework with everybody. Secondly, you look good in your hoodie, sir.
I was gonna
You
say
look
I got
good in
my
your
hoodie
hoodie.
on.
You
That
know,
teamwork is not talent, y'all. It's trust.
it's
This
there it is.
I received this last week from Dr. Cliff Freeman. You probably saw the back. It says 80 Fryer on the back. It's got the score of the Super Bowl 59, and it's got the emblem of the Super Bowl right there on the right shoulder. The score of the Super Bowl on the left shoulder, 80 with Fryer on the back, and teamwork is not talent, it's trust on the front.
Yeah, man.
And where can people find these? Because these are hot,
They can
man.
get
My daughter wanted to
they can
try to
get
take
those
this
on
from me.
tell her that she got to get her own.
Yeah, that's what I told her. That's why I'm still wearing it.
Just go to the website, cliffreemanspeaks.com. Just like my name,
CliffFreemanspeaks.com.
speaks.com, just like
All
my
right.
name, Cliff Freeman. And
Uh-huh.
yes, it's got 3 F's in the middle. CliffFreeman speaks.com. And they're right there.
CliffFreemanspeaks.com. Uh-huh. All right, great. Great. We'll put that up at the end. All right.
And so
So tell us about that contagious teamwork that changes cultures. Man, when you talk about changing cultures, you're talking about a large responsibility, bro. Talking
right,
about big responsibility.
it's a major undertaking because culture tends to rule the day,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of context. Culture tends to rule the day. If it's the workplace, if it's the home,
Right.
if it's a nonprofit, if it's a ministry, if it's a business, if it's a sports team, culture rules the day.
Wow.
And so what happens is there is something, and this is what I tell any company or any organization. All of them want to improve their productivity, their profits, and their performance. Those are the three things that everybody wants to improve across any organization, right? Their productivity. They want to do better
Mm-hmm.
and be more efficient in what they're doing. Their profits, obviously, nobody's in business to lose money.
Right.
People are in business to gain money, to gain revenue, and you want to grow year by year by year. You don't want to be in a decline. You want to be increasing every year,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
that's the profit portion. So you got the productivity, profits, and then there's the performance. You want your people to work better, right? When your people work better, when your people do better, and I say your people meaning because I talk to leaders.
Right.
When your
Right.
subordinates are working better and serving better and doing whatever they do better, your overall culture begins to shift,
Right.
right? One of the biggest areas you can see this in is in the sports arena, and I use that because everybody can see sports arena. Everybody can see sports. If you like sports, you can see it. You can look at a team that can go from there. There's a phrase, and this phrase encapsulates good culture. Here's the
Okay.
phrase:
Mm-hmm.
going from worst to first.
Mm.
So, how did that team go from whatever kind of decline or whatever downfall they were in at one point, at the end of one season or the end of one time, and then all of a sudden they begin to skyrocket to the top?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really change personnel, coaching changes. It wasn't a whole bunch of money shifting. They didn't sign a whole bunch of new free agents, all that kind of stuff. But all they did was shift the culture.
Okay.
They looked at what they were doing and they changed it. Now, this is where, and this is kind of something I was mentioning last week, this is where most people stop because we second guess ourselves. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this we second guess ourselves because it might work.
Right. It might work.
We don't
Right.
second guess when it's not going to work. We
Right.
second
Right.
guess because it might
Might.
actually
Right.
work. This
Yeah.
might actually
We know
go
when it's not
well.
gonna. We know when it's not gonna work. Yeah.
Exactly. And we have no problem
Right.
going away from that.
Right.
But the reason you change is because you understand doing the same thing and expecting a different result
It's crazy.
is insanity.
You crazy.
Yep. You keep putting the bottle like this, and every time you put the bottle there, it doesn't get full.
Uh huh.
But you keep doing it like, well, why is this bottle not getting filled? I'm putting it under the water for a second. Well, maybe if you put it under the water for 10 seconds, it might
Mm-hmm.
fail, right? How about
Right.
you change a little
Right.
bit?
Right.
And so what happens is what contagious teamwork is, it's when the teamwork in one area is so great, that type of teamwork begins to become contagious.
Mm.
We're all familiar with COVID-19. I'm sorry. We're all familiar with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Why
Because
you
you know
not saying
they
COVID? Why won't you say COVID?
because YouTube be trying to censor people if they say the C word.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Wow.
man,
What's
it's
wrong with
nuts.
YouTube? Man, people
Brother,
crazy.
ugh. So
Really?
we're all
Wow.
familiar with the pandemic. We're familiar with the cold. We're familiar with the
Mm-hmm.
flu and anything else. Just like they become contagious, your teamwork can become contagious. You played in the NFL, so you know it's a copycat league,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if 31 teams see what this one team did to achieve victory, what do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, let's look at let's peek over the fence and see what they did, and
Right.
let's bring
Right.
some of that in our area. People do the same thing in business. People do the same thing in business. There's something that a lot of companies have started to adopt. Simple words like "my pleasure"
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying "you're welcome."
Mm.
because it makes the customer have a colossal customer experience. When a
Colossal.
customer has a
Okay.
colossal customer experience, guess what they do? They come back. They
Repeat
spend more money,
customers. Yes, sir.
right?
Repeat
And they
customers.
tell other people, repeat
Uh-huh.
customers.
Right.
They tell other people,
Right.
hey, you need to go to XYZ place
Hmm.
because the food is good. And oh, by the way, the customer services one is amazing. And so contagious teamwork is all about helping an organization realize it started in one person, but your company's not going to grow in one person. It's
Let,
going to
let,
take more than just you.
let me be the devil's advocate because
Okay.
I'm a pastor and I, like yourself, and I work with people,
Yeah.
particularly Christians. So let's say you've sent the message out to a certain, say you got a business, you sent the message out and you got a certain group of people, maybe it's a certain
Hmm.
department, they're working
Hmm.
better, they're doing better, they're
Hmm.
producing more, they're shining.
Yeah.
It's human nature, at least I've experienced this, it's human nature, not necessarily for other groups to see it and it become contagious, but for other groups to see it and become jealous
Crabby.
and interpret and begin to move forward with a negative attitude. How do you prevent that? Good question.
All right. So now that's a fantastic question.
Good
It's a
question.
fantastic
That's
question.
because I know people.
So
That's people. That's
yeah,
what people do.
yeah.
That's what people do.
Pe- People are crabby, right? People see crabs in a barrel. One crab gets toward the top, the other crab will do what?
Pull
Pull
it
it back
down.
down.
Yep.
Because people don't like seeing folk rise to the top a lot of times. So how do you keep folks from keeping other people from rising to the top?
Yeah.
It it comes in something in my book, The Art of Contagious Teamwork. The first chapter is about setting the stage. When you set the stage, you have to set the stage in a unifying or unveiling a collective vision.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff has to take place in the beginning.
Okay.
It is easier to deal with it, to prevent it, than it is to try to fix it
Fix
on
it.
the backside,
Yeah.
right? It's easier to teach a young man how to be a man than to teach him how to be a man when he's already become a man.
Well, gotten towards a man's age, or yeah,
Yeah,
become
well, you know what I'm
35.
saying? He become
Yeah.
an adult.
Hmm.
He's
It's
40
harder to
years
fix.
old,
It's
and now you want to
harder to
teach him.
fix a man than it is to raise a boy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the same thing applies when it comes to our leadership and our teamwork and our organizations.
Hmm.
And so if let's just say a leader does not do that or does not do it well,
Hmm.
there's a few things that the leader has to do. The first thing the leader has to do is analyze. The leader has to analyze what's going on. What is the root cause?
Hmm.
Is it a people problem? Is it a process problem? Or is it a parts problem?
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So those are the three areas. You see the people, process, or parts. So
I
let's
like
take
I
the
like I
easiest
like the
one.
alliteration you use, bro. I think that's the way I think too. I do the same. It's easy to remember like that.
Perfect. That's why I do it. That's
Yes,
exactly
it's
why I
way
do it.
easier to remember it like that. Yeah.
So you take the easiest one. You got people, process, parts. Parts are the easiest.
Hmm.
Okay. So maybe this group has everything they need to accomplish what they're accomplishing.
Hmm.
In this group, these four groups that are getting disgruntled and upset and mad, maybe they don't have the parts.
Hmm.
Okay. So then you find out, okay, well, what are you guys lacking that's keeping you from producing? Notice how you didn't go at them.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
leader doesn't go at them because you don't want to lose them.
Right. Right. But
You want
maybe
them to
it's
stay on the
integrity
team.
they're lacking.
Oh, well, okay, that might be the case, but you go find that out when you ask them.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Keep going.
Because then it's okay, well, what do you guys need in order to accomplish your responsibility?
Right.
Because you knew up front your responsibility was to do X, Y, Z.
I see. Hmm.
And you go to that group, well, you know what? We're really lacking this thing. And if we had this thing, it would really help us accomplish Y and Z. We can accomplish X, but we can't accomplish Y and Z. Okay, then your responsibility as a leader is to do what? To provide everything they
Provide
need.
it. Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's
Yep.
the easiest one, the parts. You got the process. Well, then you talk about the process. Your process may be convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, if it's a process issue, that's a leadership issue.
Right. Yep.
Mm,
Yep. That
people
starts at the
don't
top.
like to hear that.
Yeah, no, it
That
starts at the
starts
top. Yeah. It starts at the top.
because
And oftentimes it's not parts, but it is process. That's where
Mhm.
I bet you that's where most of the issues lie is in the process. Not because necessarily the process is wrong, but it's not the
Mhm.
right process for the people that you
Correct.
have there. They are
Correct.
not able to grasp the process at a level that they can produce at high quality.
So watch this. Let me give you an example. I had a process. I created a process,
Mm-hmm.
and my process was to do A, B, C. And then once C is done, it goes to D. And then this one's going to do this one. And this one's
Right.
going to do this. And this is going to do this. And this is going to do this. And this is going to do that. Did you catch it yet? You see how much this is this and
Yeah,
this
too
is
many
this?
dishes.
It was too
It's
many.
too many.
It was
Yeah,
too,
it's
it was
too many.
convoluted.
Yeah,
But guess what? In my brain,
right. It works for
as a
you.
leader, it was succinct. It was great. Like, okay, when we do this, that, everything's gonna be dress right dress and all of that. And it took me having the willingness to ask these four groups in that example you gave, to ask these four groups to say, hey, is it, I know you guys have everything you need. What's keeping you from doing it? Well, and usually when you hear something like that,
Uh huh.
it's going to be something revolving the process.
Right. Right.
And the leader has to be man or woman enough to listen to what they're saying
Mm-hmm.
and not immediately shut it off because you love your process. You
Mm-hmm.
fell in love with your process that you created, you came up with, and all the rest. But you literally are sitting there and say, okay, well, what do we need to do? How do we fix the
Mm-hmm.
process?
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, the leader will see exponential changes if your team is honest, and that's really the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what that leader has to do is find out about the parts, find out about
Mm-hmm.
the process.
Process.
Once we fix the process, now you're gonna have to give it time to find out if that really was the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's project based or it's product based or whatever the case may be. If it's project based, you're gonna have to wait to the next project.
Right.
You can't, as a leader, you can't just go in and, psh, all right, well, forget it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna get somebody else to
Right.
work my process. Because if your process is bad, it doesn't matter who works it. A bad
Mm-hmm.
process will always produce a bad
A
product,
bad product.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so then after that, if it's you've discovered that it's not the parts, it's not the process, the
It's the
only thing
people.
left
The
is the
people.
people.
Yeah.
And so it's not even, and when you're looking at the people, it's not a Mr. Cantaloupe and Mrs. Watermelon and Mr. Apple. It's not that. It's skill sets in the people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, excuse me, it's not personal. I feel like I'm saying P a lot. It's not
You don't.
personal.
You don't. You don't make it personal.
No, no,
You
well,
don't.
even
Yeah. You don't make it personal. Because
right,
because
but even
even what you're saying,
go
I
ahead.
even see not necessarily getting rid of a person, but
Hmm.
maybe switching people around
Correct.
because
Which
sometimes
which
it
is
may
where you're
be
looking at skill
yeah
set.
yeah
You're looking at the skill set. That's
right
that the people have to know, hey, as a leader, I gotta be willing to tell the people at the beginning. If I realize that maybe I had Mr. Cantaloupe in this position, and this is not the best position for his skill set, I might move you to this position.
mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then that leader has to be willing to do that.
right
So
right
if it's a people issue, it's a skill set, and then you deal with the skill set so your teams can go where they need to go. Again, your culture will always stay mediocre, will always be misaligned as long as you have issues within the people, the process, or the parts. It doesn't matter what context it is because it's all the same. It's either a product or
mm-hmm.
it's a or it's a or it's a
Process
service.
Uh-huh.
one or the
Uh-huh.
other. You're
Uh-huh.
either doing something for someone or you're providing something for someone. But you're always going to have people process parts in everything that you do. So
Uh-huh.
your responsibility as the leader is to get your team to work together in order to produce the result that you want to produce. Go ahead.
So I'm just my brain is like going 17,000 miles an hour, and I can't do that. You hurt my brain,
Write it down. Write it
Dr.
down.
Freeman. You saw me writing there. I got a pen right here. I was writing on the paper, so I was writing it down.
There you go.
So what are the components? Because you brought it back up again. What
Mhm.
are the components that make up culture? Because I hear that word all the time, not just in businesses, but I mean the Eagles talk about it
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time. We're trying to create the culture. It's a part of our culture. We created the culture. And when I played football, the culture was get your butt out there and win, play as hard as you can and win. Is win. That's all culture. Don't care whatever it takes. Win. That's the culture. You can cry. I don't want to hear it. If you're hurt, I don't care. Get your butt on the culture is get your butt on the field and win the game. That's the culture.
So,
None,
and it
none of
hasn't
this,
changed.
none of this appeasing personalities and shifting over here and I'm gonna move him over there. I'm gonna throw you the ball so you feel better. No, no, wasn't none of that. Wasn't none of that, man. It was tough guy culture. Be a tough guy or you're not gonna make it.
So you literally just said it. So here's a simple way to say culture. It's the what and the why we do what we do.
Okay, okay,
It's why do we do what we do? That's our culture.
okay.
Because it's if it's a to your point, right? I'm gonna throw you the ball so you feel good about yourself.
No, you're supposed to throw me the ball so we can win. You're not
Right.
supposed to throw me the ball so I can feel good about myself. I'm supposed to already have my own confidence. I'm supposed to already have my own swag. I'm supposed to already feel good about me so that when you do throw
Yeah,
me the ball, I'm going to catch the ball and do something with it.
absolutely. But if my reasoning for throwing you the ball, the why I do what I do is to make you feel better. Our culture is a coddling culture.
Yeah. Yeah, because you might
You
throw me the
just said,
ball. I might be covering you. You throw me the ball, it gets intercepted. Now you throwing
well,
it
you
for
just
because you're
said
throwing
it
it for the wrong reason.
when you played, it was a tough guy
Yeah.
culture.
That's what I
And
said.
you and
Culture.
you and you described it.
Okay.
If
All
you're
right.
are you hurt or are you injured?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm hurt. Okay, get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm injured. Okay, we'll get over there to
Get
the
in the training
now
room.
the blue tent, but we'll
Yeah.
get in the training room. You know what I'm saying? That is culture,
Right.
right? That's what
Right.
it is. The what and the why we do what we do. So that's really when we have a bad why we do what we do, a bad
Okay.
why and what we do, that's
Okay.
when we gotta adjust it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here's something that happens often that people go to shift culture when culture doesn't need to be shifted.
Okay. Mm.
If the culture is good, why do it? What's the phrase? If it ain't
If it
broke,
ain't broke, don't fix it.
don't
Right?
fix it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So quite honestly, if all is well, then let all be well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all's not going to be well all the time because you can buy a shirt and how many times have you bought a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever and it looked great when you bought it? About 17 washes in, how'd it look? See?
Or for some of us, 17 hamburgers later, how does it look on you?
Exactly. You so now you've got to make some changes. It still says Nike or Teamwork or Reebok or
Right.
whatever it says, but it's something different. It's shifted a little bit
Yeah.
because time is still moving.
Right. Right.
Things are going to continue to shift. And so
Right.
your responsibility as the leader is to get your team to shift
Mm-hmm.
with the times.
Okay.
Okay? So and that takes it takes reevaluation, it takes realignment. One of the things I do is to do company will say I was talking with a vice president one time and she was telling me, well, you know what? we're having issue A, B, C, D, E.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, all right. I said, here's what I recommend. I said, let's do an assessment because an assessment is going to tell you if your people are truthful. This assessment is going to tell you one or two things. I said, can I tell you something harsh? She said, sure, yes, tell me. I
Yeah,
said,
she didn't
okay.
want you to tell
The
her.
assessment's going to tell you you got a great team or you got terrible leadership.
And then what? How did her face look when you when you said that? Because that's what assessments do. When you look at it that way, you look at a business, process,
Hmm.
people. If you do an assessment,
She,
do an evaluation, you're going to find out
yeah,
things maybe you don't want to find out that actually point to you
absolutely.
as a leader. Yeah.
She was hesitantly excited. It
Hmm.
sounds like an oxymoron,
Yeah.
but she was excited at the fact to know what the problem is.
Right.
She was hesitant to find out and discover that she might be the problem,
Uh huh.
but she was willing to do it.
Yeah, because she
When
can't
she,
fire herself. She ain't gonna fire herself. She just fix it.
correct, correct. Correct. And so we went in, we did the assessment,
Hmm.
and it turned out some things and I was able to kind of point her in the right direction of some things. We
Cool.
did a little bit of consulting and that was that. And she kind of moved forward. I'll do this is around about the time where we'll get back together and see how that is. But that's where it all starts. So
Uh huh.
this is and Dr. Fry, this is a lot of time, or Irv. I just call you Irv because I call you Irv all the
Yeah, come here.
time. Do I need to say Dr. Fryer on the
No, you know
podcast?
it's on it's when I put my picture up. Hold on a second. It says it right there, so they know.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. So, Irv, people will say, "Well, how did you get to this place of being about leadership, teamwork, and what have you?" And it goes
I was going to ask you that.
beyond. Okay. So it goes beyond this point, but the most pivotal point was when I was in the military, and so everybody can take their mind back to 2001, September 11th, 2001.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
for me, I was in Korea,
Hmm.
stationed in Korea with the Engineer Brigade, and it was September 12th because we were 13 hours ahead.
Right, right.
It was, I remember it distinctly because I was getting ready to go to bed, and I remember turning on the television, and I turned on TV, and I saw smoke coming out of a building. And I said, I don't want to see this movie. Turn the TV off.
Wow.
Lay down, went to start to go to sleep, and we have the alert horn goes off. I was in second ID. People that know the military know what that is. I was 8 miles from the DMZ or the demilitarized zone, so
Hmm.
8 miles from North Korea. And so there's horns that go off. You can either get one horn or four. One horn is a muster formation. Everybody just show up where you are, however you dress, PTs,
Right.
street clothes, whatever. Just get there so we can get a count, make sure everybody's accounted for. Or it's four horns, and that's a full battle rattle, whole uniform, gas mask.
We going to war.
We going in.
About to get it
And
in
so
here.
yeah, legit. And so this night I'm getting ready to fall asleep, and the horn goes off, and everybody does the same thing because it's not one, two, three, or four. It's either one or four.
Hmm.
So if you hear one, the horn goes up, comes down, and everybody waits to hear if there's a second one. Because if there's a second, there's going to be a third and a fourth.
Uh huh.
And we hear the one horn,
Hmm.
and we're like, all right, okay. I get up out of the bed, put on some street clothes, whatever, and I got to report to the gym. And as I'm walking to the gym, I hear somebody running down the corridor and saying, "Hey, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center."
Wow.
And we were like, "What?" And we still going our way, and somebody says, "Hey, another plane just
Mm.
flew into the World Trade Center." We're like, "What in the world?" We get down to the formation where we're supposed to be. We get there, and First Sergeant usually tells everybody, company attention, all that. We do all the drilling ceremonies. But tonight, this is after midnight. So he stands up in front of everybody. We're ready to do what we got to do, and he just says, "Look, forget all that. Everybody just gather around me."
Wow.
We're like, Okay.
That's
So we
that's not
stand there and
normal military
that is
procedure.
not that. No, sir. No, sir. At this moment, we knew something was going on.
Right.
We didn't know what. Nobody knew who did anything. And he tells us what happens. He took, planes into the World Trade Center, and another one flying toward the Pentagon, hit the Pentagon, and he tells us we have to pull guard duty. And so we got to pull guard duty. He gives out whoever's doing what. We walk back to the room. I get back to my room, and I'm kind of sitting there, don't know what to do, but at the same time, I'm like, let me go to sleep because I know I have to pull a guard duty, in a few hours. So I go to sleep, I wake up, and I walk down to the arms room. Nothing different. Go to the arms room all the time, get my weapon all the time. But this day was different because they gave me a magazine
Mm.
full of live rounds.
Wow.
For those that don't know, you've seen the movie Full Metal Jacket. That's what I
Hmm.
had in my hand. They said,
Great
put your
movie, by the
magazine
way.
in.
Great movie, by the way.
Fantastic movie.
Great movie.
Fantastic movie. I put the magazine in, keep the weapon on safe, and he tell me and a junior enlisted soldier we're gonna go and pull guard duty. And so we're walking around, soldiers, we try to keep it light. We,
Hmm.
because you never know when something's gonna happen. And we're
Right.
trying to keep it light. We're walking from the middle of the installation all the way over to the end, to the edge of the installation. I told you nobody knew who did what. And we're like, man, this is crazy. What's going on? Da, da, da. I'm a sergeant E5, and he is, I think, either a PFC. I think he's a PFC. Um, was the E3. And we get to our guard post. We have to walk inside of a guard shack where there's already a Korean soldier, security guard there. That's where they pull guard duty all the time. We walk into the guard shack. I open the door. When I open the door, I got a 9 millimeter pointed in my face.
Lord Jesus. Wow.
When he puts his weapon in my face, remember I told you nobody knows who did anything.
Uh-huh.
He put his in my face. I raise my weapon. My soldier raises his weapon. This gentleman cannot speak English. I can't speak Korean. He's yelling at me in Korean. I'm yelling at him in English. And we now have this battle back and forth trying to communicate with each other. And I'm the senior guy in this situation.
Mm.
Sergeant E5, I'm not a sergeant first class. I'm not a sergeant major. I don't have a whole bunch of stripes on my collar. I literally have 3 stripes, and I'm not supposed to be in a situation like this. My wife is on my mind.
He
My
said, I'm not
family's on my
supposed to be
mind.
here.
And I'm not supposed to be here. This ain't supposed to be it.
Wow.
And I look, and I got to figure out how to diffuse this.
Right.
I look at my soldier, and just as sure as I'm standing here, sitting here right now, I look at him and I take my hand and I go like this. And I'm telling him with nonverbal communication, I'm saying it
Mm-hmm.
that way on purpose
Mm-hmm.
to get him to understand if we lower our weapons, he'll begin to lower his because he's just afraid as we
Right.
are.
Right.
I begin to lower mine. My soldier begins to lower his. As we lower ours, he lowers his weapon. And at this moment, all of our weapons are down and it has subsided.
Uh-huh.
And I would love to be able to tell you we turned around, walked back, and got leadership. Nah, we had to sit in that guard shack for 90 minutes.
With
Toughest 90 minutes I've ever had in my life.
So you had to sit there and do what?
We had to sit there and to prepare to guard the installation. This was
Okay.
our point
Right.
of guarding.
Right.
Why do I bring that up? Why does that among other things? Why that? Because at that moment is where I realized teamwork happens through
Mm.
communication.
Mm.
Teamwork happens through collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
Teamwork happens through the willingness to work together. I would not be sitting here if the junior enlisted soldier was so afraid he
Mm-hmm.
never lowered his weapon
Mm-hmm.
and that Korean security guard would have shot his weapon. He was pointed at me.
Right.
He
Right.
would have shot me point blank range. I would not be here. That guy, security guard, probably wouldn't have been here, and the only probably to tell it would be the PFC.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned the value. the immense value of teamwork. I learned about teamwork on the football field. I learned about it baseball and all the sports. I learned about it in other areas of the military, but nothing
Not like that.
compares
Yeah, not like that.
to that situation.
Wow.
And that is where the heart of my that's where my passion for working together comes from, outside of just being in me, seeing people work together. That's why I understand. Yes, people say teamwork makes the dream work, and I thank God for Dr. John Maxwell for making that quote famous. But I really understand that teamwork, it ain't about talent,
Mm.
it's about trust.
It's about trust.
I
Yeah.
had to trust that my soldier knew what I meant when I went like this.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had to trust that he was going to follow my lead, because if I would have started lowering my weapon, I very well can't raise my weapon back up.
Right, 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 right.
But I
Yeah.
had to trust that he was going to do this. And then I had to trust that this guy, who I don't know his
Don't
name,
know.
if I see him today, I wouldn't know. He could slap me in the face. I'd never know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to trust that, okay, if we lower ours, he'll lower his. If I show him that we're not a threat to him,
Mm-hmm.
he'll feel less threatened and lower his weapon. Or that's where my heart is. Like, that's that's how powerful teamwork is.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Mm-hmm.
really, really work together with other people to accomplish something,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it is life or death.
Woo. Yeah. I was
'Cause
going to
it,
say that. Yeah. Things when there's a lack of community, and I always, I did this a little bit last week, and I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to long talk this, but I did this last week when you started bringing up some of your points and some of your topics. I was always taking it back to individuals, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a friendship, whether it's someone in your family, but individual relationships, starting out with ourselves individually.
yes,
And like you said, when proper communication is not achieved, when you're not able to communicate effectively, destruction takes place.
absolutely. And who
Lives get,
likes destruction?
yeah, lives get destroyed. Visions become a blur. It goes the wrong way. It goes downhill. So yeah, I mean, in that kind of situation, and I would dare say that yes, you trusted your soldier that was standing next to you, but I believe in that situation you were trusting God more than anybody else.
For sure, man. I, when the
You
weapons went
trusted
up and
God more
he's
than
yelling,
anybody
I'm
else,
yelling,
bro.
I'm like this, and I'm praying, and I'm talking, and I'm
Woo,
like, you
Jesus.
drop your weapon, and it was, and when I tell people, if you can imagine, you've seen it probably in the movies, they stand up and it's a stand down.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
favorite movie, The Rock, it's just like that. It
Right, The
was
Rock.
just
Yeah,
like that. I'm
yeah,
yelling at
yeah.
you, and you yelling at me, and I'm not gonna drop my weapon. You drop your, I'm not gonna,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
And I don't, and to this day, I don't know what he said because
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak Korean,
Right,
right?
right.
He, I have no idea. He could have just been startled.
He was cussing at you,
Who
man.
knows?
He was
He
cussing
probably
at you.
was. He, he, pro-
He
he
was
probably
cussing you
was.
out.
You, you know something that's amazing. And people say, well, I don't understand working with each other, working with people. Why it's so powerful? And why so that ain't a big deal. Okay, have you ever heard a choir sing?
I've heard some good ones and I've heard some bad ones. And the good ones sing together. They sound like one voice. The bad ones, you hear all the bad voices and they stand
Absolutely.
out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's
It's
unpleasant.
called, exactly. Watch what this called. Individualism.
Mm.
So you want to be, and I'm gonna say it like a football coach. So you want to be an individual now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you want to just do what you gonna do.
Right.
Matter of fact, everybody else chill, and we gonna watch so and so do whatever.
Right.
Go ahead,
No.
go ahead. Nah, coach, I'm good. Nah, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Do it again. It's the picture of I think it was Love and Basketball. The young lady, she shoots a three, and she
Uh-huh.
does like this, and the coach says,
Why
"That's
don't you
real pretty.
Yeah, why
Leave
don't you
it up there."
stand there like that? Just stay there.
Just leave it, just like, and
Yeah,
she
just stay
stayed
right
just
there.
like
Rest of
that.
practice,
You
yeah.
know, it's because you want to be an individual. How about you
Right.
crash the boards? How about you go get a rebound? How
Mm-hmm.
about you be excited about the assists
Mm-hmm.
as much as you are shooting and making the shot? That's teamwork, man. That's team. And when that does not happen in a business organization or what have you,
Do you go
settle
on the?
down.
I'm sure you do. This is probably a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's my show. Do you? Because we need this in the church, man. We
Mhm.
need this kind of teaching in the church so people can understand this concept and this formula because it applies to each and every one of us as individuals within the body of Christ. We are all
Right.
parts of the body and we all bring something to the table. One is no more important than the other. My fingers are no more important than my toes. I need them all. My
Hmm.
knees are no more important than my ears. I need them all. They work together. When my
Right.
ear hurts, guess what? My whole body hurts. If my
Yep.
head hurts, my whole body's affected. When I kick the table at nighttime because I'm in the dark and I stub my toe, everything hurts. It ain't just my
Yes, sir.
toe. And so
Yes,
when one
sir.
of us elevates, all of us elevate. So do you go to churches and teach this in the churches? And if you don't, are you going to start doing it?
So, yes and yes. Yes, I do share this in churches. I use a different framework to
Hmm.
teach the same thing. I have so Art of Contagious Teamwork is already out, but I have another book that's coming out next month. Yeah, April. Wow, it is April already. Another book coming out next month called Synergy in Ministry:
Mm,
Overcoming Barriers for Growth with Biblical Principles. It really lays out. Now, I'm gonna tell you the framework for all of it is Amos 3:3. How can two walk except they be together?
both together,
That's
yeah.
the framework of the
So they
whole thing.
agree.
This is I'm not sharing any new concept.
Right, right.
I'm not. All I'm doing is giving you a framework of how to do it. Remember, like I said last week, there's information and then there's implementation. We
Implementation, yeah.
love we love information.
Right.
We, we give me more, give me more. I want it, want it, want it. Tell me, tell me, tell me. And I can even say it like this: lazy information is the best kind of information we like. We like to
Mm,
watch it. We don't
hmm.
really like to read it. We like to watch
Yeah, we
somebody giving
don't.
us information,
Well, yeah,
but
they
not necessarily
reading is a
reading the
lost art.
information.
It's a lost art. People don't read anymore. But you know,
If
like you say, the implementation of part about the information. I like to say it like this: the implementation actually is wisdom. Because
Absolutely.
we give information and the information that you're giving, I'm sure everybody's getting this. Loving My Destiny's on Dawn's. I think there's Dawn Winrow is in the house. Billy Bell is in the house. Stuart Winrow's in the house. Steve Costa's in the house. My mama's in the house. Eddie Casper's in the house. Vincent Capriati's in the house. They're all watching right now. And the information, watch this now. The information that I'm sorry, that's a habit that I have. I say when I'm preaching. I'm sorry. The information I can't run from it, man. I can't get away from it.
be yourself. It's your
I am
show.
being myself. It's my show. So when we give people information or when people acquire information, if they acquire information in a way that it's not explained so that they understand it, then they have gained no knowledge.
Correct.
They've just obtained more information. It's
Hmm.
basically useless information. But if I'm
Right.
given information in a way that I understand it, now I've gained knowledge because why? I understand it, so now I know it. I have
Yes.
knowledge. And when I take
Yes.
that knowledge, which is information that I understand, and I apply
Hmm.
it to my life, I make implementation, that's called wisdom. That's
Absolutely.
called wisdom.
Absolutely. It is imperative that we walk in it, right? So in all you're getting, wisdom is the principal thing, but in all you're getting, get an
Get
understanding.
understanding.
So before I can ever get to wisdom, I have to get knowledge and understand that knowledge so I can apply that knowledge and it be wisdom.
And it be
It's
wisdom.
what it
Yeah.
is.
And that's the
It is.
implementation part. Right.
Absolutely. And so, do I go and share it with churches? As a matter of fact, I do. Um, today, on this coming Monday, next week, I'll be with a group of pastors. talking to them about this framework. I did something last month with with the New Jersey State Convention, as a matter of fact, talking about synergy in ministry. A lot of times we know ministry, but we don't know how to do it synergized. And and it's really because a lot of people want they want their name to be out that I did this and I did that and that's just it's people, right?
It's
Remember people process parts? It's
mm-hmm.
people
Right.
because that's not the process and that's sure not the parts. That's really just people, that's ego, that's my desire to have my
People
name and lights and all of that.
people not understanding what
Hmm.
God teaches us and that we're all in this together. People go to church, and I know we're shifting the church and stuff. I'm sorry, but people go to church and they go in, listen to the message, give the money, and go home. Oh,
So
why don't you? Fellowship is another part of church. Matter of fact, is equal as not necessarily the word, but is as equal as you going to church and being there. You got to.
absolutely.
That's your family. That's your
Hmm.
spiritual support system.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you've got to connect some kind of way. I read a book, High Expectation Church, talks about, the front door, people coming in and joining the church, but closing the back door, having the front door open so they can get
Yes,
in, but
sir.
making
Good
sure you
book.
close the back door so that people don't leave. And one of the ways to do that is obviously communicating over the pulpit about the expectations
Hmm.
that come, not demands, not requirements, because you got to be careful with people when you start demanding that they do this or you require that they do this. They start calling you a dictator. So you got to express it in a way that it's expected that you're going to do this. Come to church and
Yeah.
give and come
Yeah.
to Sunday school and participate in ministry. Why? Because you see everybody else participating, like you said, with the different teams.
And you see the benefit of it.
Right.
So watch this. You're just like just like that book you mentioned wants to close the back door of a particular ministry. Guess what? A business is dealing with the same thing.
Right. Yep. That's what I
You can
brought it
have a
up. Yeah.
whole lot of people want to work for your company. They love you. They love what you guys produce. They love what you do. They love the customers you serve. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to be a part of. But then what happens when they see somebody is either doing it better, doing it more efficiently, or either somebody's just going to pay them more to do the same thing.
They're gone.
They out the back door, right?
Gone.
And so what is that? Watch this. What is that? That is the culture of your business.
Okay.
The what and the why we do what we do.
He
And
just brought it
so
full circle. Boy, you just brought that thing full circle. Go ahead, boy. That's why he got a DR period in front of his name. You see how he just brought that whole thing. We've been talking it's been an hour. We've been talking for an hour now. Look, in his mind, he's shifting that thing around. He brought that thing full. Go ahead. You a bad man. You a bad man. He
man,
brought that
no,
thing
man.
full circle, bro. I love it. I love it. Good God Almighty.
It is it's just it's the way things begin to happen.
Right.
And then watch this. Because of a certain culture your company may have, or your team may have, your organization may have, that begins to get out. So just like your teamwork can become contagious, your bad culture
Right.
can become contagious. This is when you hear things like people and let me say this in totality. This is when you hear things like, I don't have to be your friend, I'm just your coworker. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the culture should exist that if I desire friendship, I can find it there. See the difference? I don't have to be your friend. You're right.
Right.
You don't.
Right. Right. Right.
We don't have to do anything but work together. That's it. But the culture ought to exist. It ought to be not massaged, but it ought to be open. Yeah, it ought
Right.
to be open enough that
Right.
we can be friends if we desire to be friends. And that's okay if that's what you want. To the context of the church, that's what fellowship is.
Right.
It's the same
Yep.
thing. It's the same thing, right? And God invented it. we just trying to make it something else.
God, no, God didn't
So
invent it. God said it. So when God
right,
said it, it is.
it's his
that's
thing, you know.
that's
It's
what
work. It's
God
being
wants.
together, working together.
Yes, but you know,
So
and I know we're getting churchy right now, but it seems like the more of those things like unison and unity and
mhm,
love and togetherness and fellowship, that's becoming less and less in the
it
world.
is.
Period.
It
Period.
is.
Period.
It is.
Because I mean,
We're
well, you know,
we're
things are getting
we're
worse.
in a faster pace
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
We're in an information age, right? And people we're in a man, I forget the timing he said, but basically we're in a 13-second world.
Really.
Capture my attention for 13 seconds or I'm moving on.
Wow.
Think about it.
Well, that's what
YouTube,
happens on IG
YouTube
and
is
YouTube. Yeah, you people are scrolling through. I always say this: people are scrolling through, whether it's IG, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube. They're
yep.
scrolling through, and that little horn down at the bottom has the is xed out, and they're scrolling through until they see something that captures their eyes. Then they turn that horn on. So people listen to what they see. They will listen
Absolutely.
to what they see. Like you said, they won't read a book, but they'll listen to what they see.
Absolutely. That is, and it takes the marketing professional will tell you, you only have an individual's attention for 7 seconds before they move on.
Wow.
And so if your company does, here's the question. So if you're a leader, does your company or organization capture your ideal client's attention for 7 seconds? If the answer is no,
You got
it's
some
time to
work to
do
do. Yeah.
time to do some changing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's change out. There's some misalignment somewhere. Okay. There's some culture shifting that needs to happen. Okay. There's some harmony and collaboration that needs to happen within your organization. Guess what? And I know a guy that can help you do it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I
But
know
is it
you can get the book, right? And I like I said this last time, I tell people all the time, listen, you ain't if you don't want to bring me in to speak or talk to your team, fine.
get the
Get a
book?
book. Get
Get
the
the
book.
book.
The
But they
book
don't
is
but
five
they don't
simple
read books. They
strategies.
don't read books.
Well,
People don't
but
read books no more.
Irv, this is easy. I wrote it so that it's so easy that you can start doing. You could take strategy number one or chapter one and
You
say,
should
okay,
you should make an
this is
Audible
what I'm
book.
going to do.
Make is it Audible? Can you download it? MP3?
Not yet.
I just gave you a
Not
great
yet.
idea. Not
You gave me
yet.
a
There
great
you go.
idea.
Yeah.
Gave me a great idea.
Need to make a
Gotta pay for
shift
that.
because a lot. Listen, I do read. Obviously, I read the Bible. I do read. I try to sit down and read something every day for at least 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes 20 minutes is hard because I'm busy, but I try to read for at least 15, 20 minutes every day. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer.
Right.
But I do, because I'm in my car often, man, I do listen to sermons. I do listen to books. Don't
Audiobooks.
necessarily,
Yeah.
yeah, audiobooks. I listen to them all the time. So they're popular because we live in that kind of, that's where we are right now in 21st century.
hmm
We do those kinds of things. That didn't
So I mean,
exist years ago.
we will do it.
Yeah.
We will do it. We
Oh,
will
I know
do it.
you're
I
going to do
can't.
it. Yeah, yeah.
I won't put a date on it, but
No.
we will do it before the end of the year. I can say that.
Get a famous
Before the end
person's
of
voice.
2025.
Get a famous person's voice on there.
Well, I know a celebrity.
No, not me. No, you don't want me reading you. I didn't mean me. Not at all. Nope, nope. So listen. You know that was an hour, right?
I do.
That hour's gone. The hour's
I
gone.
just looked
And
up and saw it.
golly, bro. So listen, we're gonna have you on next week. We got to have you on next week. We're gonna have the week after. You got to get finished next week because the week after that I got somebody else coming scheduled. So we're gonna cut. We covered contagious teamwork, y'all, and we covered some different arms of that. But I believe you got a good picture, a good grasp of what it takes to create, obviously, the culture that you need to create that contagious teamwork where you have people doing things at a level that others will see what's happening. They're producing. They're being productive, and there's progress being made, and the people are doing it. See, I got all your P's. And others who are watching, it will become contagious, and it will flow over, and they'll catch a hold to it, and before you know it, everybody's on fire, working in the same direction to accomplish the same goal. So that's great stuff. So next week, listen, y'all, when we come back, and y'all didn't ask any questions, just let me ask this before we go. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody who's watching right now, please capital Q, semicolon, and ask your question. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes because I know it takes a couple of minutes for your comments to pop up on my screen. So if you have a question for Dr. Cliff, Dr. Freeman, please ask it right now. He's going to be back next week, and we're going to talk about legendary leadership, navigating change with resilience. I don't know if we can get through all of this, but the winning mindset, I think we need to, make sure we get to the winning mindset, because that's important. Everything
So
we
we
do,
can let's deal with the
starts.
winning mindset,
Yeah,
and
because
then
everything
let's
we
start
do.
at the winning mindset and look
Work
back.
back. Okay,
Go
because
from there.
everything we
Yeah,
do, whether you realize it or not, I know you know this, Doc, whether we realize it or not, everything we do starts here. It starts in our
absolutely.
minds. It starts in our minds. Man, I was talking to myself today, and I got not a revelation, but you know how people do things that are right, people do things that are wrong. And I'm talking specifically to people who are Christians, because we have a natural way of doing things. We call it the flesh, our sin nature, and then we have our spirit nature, the Holy Spirit. That's why I call him holy. He's holy, and we have these two natures talking to us. But when they're talking to us, it's hard for us to differentiate between the two. Why? Because the voices are the same. So when my flesh talks to me, right, and tells me to do something, that's my flesh talking to me. When the Holy Spirit, who talks to me, who's in me, he communicates with me through my soul. That's me talking to me. So how can I identify? How would I know the difference? Because it's still me. It's my voice that I hear. Am I right? Am I
Yeah,
right? It's
it's still
so
your voice.
so the
The
way
first thing to
we
know
know the
is
difference
go
between
ahead.
the
I'm sorry.
two
I'm sorry.
is we know it's God, the good man, the Holy Spirit talking to us when what he says lines up with the word of God. Period.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you won't know the difference if you don't know the word. Boom.
Absolutely.
When they're training people in banks to recognize counterfeit money, they don't show them counterfeit money. They show them real money over and over and over and over and over again. So when they see something that's phony, it looks funny, and they can tell there's something wrong with it. So you got to know the word so that when you hear a voice, your voice, you can differentiate between whether it's your flesh talking or whether it's your spirit talking. Good God
That's
Almighty.
right. That's right.
I love
So
it.
let me say this, man. And this is for anybody watching this that's thinking, well, I don't know if what Cliff does helps me. If you need help casting vision, this is for you.
Mm.
Ensuring your team knows what the vision is, this is for you. If you need help, and I'm gonna read this from my notes I wrote down. I said I wanted to mention this. If you need help ensuring that you know communication tactics, communication strategies, you need to help how figuring out how to get everybody to communicate together. This is for you. If you need help with people embracing what they're supposed to do, understanding their role and responsibility, this is for you. If you got collaboration concerns, this is for you. If you have adaptability concerns, this is for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are one strategy away
Mm.
from increasing your productivity, your profit, and your performance. In whatever context you're in, you just one away.
Wow. And the church said, Amen. And look, I'm great. I can do this now, but because you were laughing about it, not laughing about it, but you're okay with this. And if all else works in the communication, take a gun and put it in their face. They'll learn how to communicate real fast.
Don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Do not do that.
That's how you learn how to communicate. I can be light about it now. I know it was serious back then, Doc. I would. We can joke about it now.
Man.
You learn real fast.
Touché.
Good God
Touché.
Almighty. Ooh, Lord,
Touché.
good gosh. I can't even imagine, man. Woo. But I mean, did you ever think when that was going on that because he didn't shoot you, that he didn't want to shoot you? Because if he wanted to, he just would have shot you when he saw you. No?
No, I don't even know if I've ever thought of that.
Okay.
I think
Because
my
you didn't want to
whole
shoot. You didn't want to shoot him,
I didn't.
right?
I didn't.
Otherwise, you'd have shot him,
My putting up of my weapon was a defense mechanism.
right? It happened instinctively.
Because
That's what you were
you
trained to do,
see, yeah, you see that I'm about to shoot you just as much as you want to shoot me.
right?
That's gonna make you think twice.
Mm-hmm.
That was my head was, please don't let him shoot me.
Because even when because he got the draw on you, he had his gun on you first, and
Correct.
when you started to raise your gun, he could have thought you were going to shoot and shot you,
Yep.
but he didn't.
Yep.
So he really
Yep.
didn't want to shoot you either. He was like you said, all of y'all were scared. He was just scared as you were.
If not more,
Right, right. Well, yeah, maybe
I
more
don't
because there was
know.
two of
I don't
y'all.
know.
I don't know if that was his first time seeing a big black guy either. Shoot,
No.
he might. That's enough, man.
He's seen a big black guy before.
I don't know. He's
He
Korean.
absolutely has. He
Okay, all right.
absolutely has. I
Okay.
guarantee. I guarantee.
All right, y'all. We gonna get out of here. Listen, are you open next Friday, 7 to 8
I am
again?
open. Yep, 7-8. You got me.
Listen, we're gonna do this next Friday, and we're gonna make sure we hit it and quit it. But listen, you can find Dr. Freeman at cliffreemanspeaks.com, correct?
Correct.
cliffreemanspeaks.com. You can get one of these sweatshirts or one of those t-shirts that he has on. Teamwork. It's not talent, it's trust. And you can find that book, The Art of Contagious Teamwork, right there on his website, cliffreemanspeaks.com. You see Cliff Freeman right down there in front of his picture. CLIFFFREE. Got a lot of doubles and triples in there.
Look
MAN.
at see.
What? It should be. That's what I said.
Speaks.com.
CLIFFF.
See, you stop and you gonna mess somebody up and go on the website because you trying to make fun of my name.
CLIFFREEMAN. Y'all see it.
SPEAKS.com.
Yeah. Don't forget the speaks.com. Well, thanks, bro. I
I'm gonna
appreciate
change my
you.
website just because of you.
No, don't change your website. I'm gonna come on and buy the book myself. You said my sister bought
Okay.
something from you. Who? My sister Hope?
Yeah.
Did she buy a book?
Yes.
See?
Yes.
See that?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
This
That's
I'm telling you, it's good stuff. 5 tips you can deploy today. Five
it
tips you
work
can
in your
deploy
home
today.
too, y'all. We're not just talking big businesses and big churches and stuff. We're talking individual, not individual.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Do this in your home, with your marriage, all of that, with your kids, wherever it might be. Baseball team with little kids, on your job, wherever it is. You need to be able to, yes, communicate in a way where people see the light in you and know that you're genuine, where they can trust you. And that kind of stuff becomes contagious. It becomes contagious because it's right. Because it's right and it's good.
And let me say this, it's working in Ghana right now. I presented this in Ghana 3 times, and it's working in Ghana right now.
Wow. That's
Accra,
awesome.
Ghana. It's working. So it absolutely is the implementation. You can get the
They send you a
information, but
check
it's
every
the
week? They
implementation.
send you a check every month?
No, sir, they do
No.
not.
Well, they paid you one time?
They do not.
we need
No,
to call.
I've done some
We need to
pro
call
bono work with
Ghana. We
them.
need to call Ghana. Work out something here. Get you a check.
Go. I told you last week you my manager, so
Get you
whatever
a
you want to
check.
do, sir, I'm ready.
They're being more productive over there, and they need to send you a check. All
Well,
right, bro.
hey, well,
We're gonna get out of here. All right. So I'll be in touch. Be ready. We'll be back on next week with you. All right. Y'all, everybody say
all right, let's do it,
bye.
man. I appreciate
Y'all
it.
say bye in the comments to Dr. Cliff Freeman in the house. All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank
All
you.
right,
All
take
right.
care.
See you
Be
next.
blessed.
Yep. You too. That's Dr. Freeman in the house, y'all. In the house. Great. I mean, we only got through one topic, but there's a lot of great information. I don't know if you grasped all of that, if that was applicable to you in any kind of way, but yes, if you look at it the way you need to look at it for you and where you are, the space that you're in, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your home, whether it's in a relationship or friendship, business, whatever it is, great information, great information. Teamwork. It's not talent, it's trust. Yes. And this show was brought to you, the Dr. Fryar, Dr. Cliff Freeman show here at the Fryar Place was brought to you today by Stolefish Structures. You find Stolefish Structures on mysheds.com. They are an outdoor living product producer, garages and sheds, things like that. If you're looking for something like that, Stolefish Structures is the way to go. They're out in the Amish country in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to say Western Pennsylvania, but they're in the Amish country in Pennsylvania. They ship all across the country, and they do it expeditiously, and they do it in excellence, and they do what they do to advance the kingdom of God. That's why we're connected. Stolefish Structures is the way to go if you're looking for any outdoor living product. And if you mention the Fryar Place in anything that you purchase, you'll get 10% off. Stolefish Structures. You'll find them on mysheds.com. Listen, we're going to be back next week with Cliff Freeman. Let me see. I have a couple of text messages here. Who texted me? Okay. My wife just texted me, says she's over at my daughter's house. Okay. So we'll be back next week with Cliff Freeman again, Dr. Cliff Freeman, and we're going to go over some more of these topics, starting out with the winning mindset. That's something we all need to understand and grasp. Thank you for being on today. Please don't forget to like us, to make comments as you do, to share us, and tell people about us so they can subscribe. All right? All right. Good to see you. Loving my destiny. Divine protection. Yes. Billy Bell in the house. Eddie Casper. Dawn's in the house. I said Billy Bell. Stuart Winrow. I don't know if Stu is still watching, but Steve Costa, shout out to you, Mama. Shout out to you. How do I look, Mama, on the TV? Am I okay? Is everything clean? All right. Eddie Casper, Vincent Capriati. He said, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Listen, we'll see you next week here at the Fryar Place with the conversations of fire, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to other people because you reap what you sow. God bless you. Peace. See you next week with Dr. Cliff Freeman in his final appearance, not his final appearance, in his third, 3 in a row, third appearance here at the Fryar Place with the conversations of fire.